This is for the three attorneys general. Do you believe that Secretary Mayorkas has failed to enforce or has subverted laws passed by the United States Congress? And we'll start and go left to right.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
He has failed to perform his duties and is culpably inefficient.
Has he failed to enforce laws passed by the U.S. Congress?
He has.
Yes, sir. Secretary Mayorkas is acting in violation of the law and in violation of constitutional order by negating Congress's appropriations authority and directives in the appropriations bill and undermining the rule of law by perverting the plain text of the statutes as it relates to the parole process and its promulgation of the circumvention rule.
Thank you. Do you believe that Secretary Mayorkas, again, we're going to hit the three of you, do you believe that Secretary Mayorkas has defied court orders issued by the United States courts, which I can cite if you want me to, but I'm sure you're probably aware of them. Do you believe that Secretary Mayorkas has defied court orders issued by the courts, federal courts?
Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Yes, and it should never come to having to go to court against Secretary Mayorkas because he should be following the laws enacted by this body.
Thank you. In testimony to Chip Roy before the House of Representatives, you saw some of the video there, the Secretary said yes to the question of whether DHS possessed operational control of the southwest border as defined by the Secure Fence Act. I might add, act, meaning the Congress passed it. In subsequent testimony to the Senate, Secretary Mayorkas stated that no one has ever had operational control of the border and that he does not use that definition of operational control as defined by the Secure Fence Act. Given these statements, do you believe that Secretary Mayorkas misled Congress while under oath in describing DHS's operational control of the border? Again, gentlemen, the three of you.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I do.
I believe that he politicized his answer and failed to be authentic.
Yes, absolutely.
Attorney General Merrick Garland acknowledged in testimony to the United States Senate that drug cartels were exploiting the current Mayorkas policies in order to traffic humans and harmful drugs into the United States. Secretary Mayorkas on March 28, 23 stated that he was unaware of this. Now, we of course informed him, now armed with this knowledge, Mayorkas continues the same policies, in fact doubling down with newer policies that even exacerbate the same horrible outcomes. Do you think Secretary Mayorkas is doing this with full knowledge that these cartels are exploiting his policies?
Mr. Chairman, there's no doubt there is ample evidence out there that human trafficking and drug trafficking are increasing at an exponential level at the southern border, yes.
And Mr. Chairman, based on my testimony today and the facts that are well known by the Secretary, there's a porous border that's feeding constantly illegal actors in Oklahoma.
Ms. Bailey.
Yes, his unlawful behaviors as it relates to the circumvention rule and subversion of the parole process exacerbate and encourage the cartels and cede control of the border to the cartels in ways unimaginable prior to these policy positions.
Thank you. Where impeachment is concerned, the scale is very important. How would you describe the scale or comparable size of this border crisis based on your law enforcement experience? And we'll start with Mr. Kins.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Based on my prior prosecuting experience, I can tell you since 2020, the fentanyl and human trafficking specifically, fentanyl and methamphetamine trafficking have increased in my state. There's no other word than meteoric. I can tell you about the first fentanyl case that I prosecuted in 2019. That was a relatively small amount by today's standards, but at the time we thought that was a large bust. And again, that was in 2019. Our seizure numbers from our various drug task forces, our various federal partnerships bear that out categorically. Fentanyl in Montana is by far our largest public safety issue, and it's just exploded under this administration. Our seizure numbers bear that out.
I'm going to go ahead and sort of interrupt my own question because my time is running out. I know Mr. Bowman mentioned the term great and dangerous threat to the United States. I'll ask the last two of you, do you feel that the hundreds of thousands who've died to fentanyl overdose, the crime that's exponentially increased, the increase in terrorist activity, or terrorists coming across the southern border, do you think it's great and dangerous, Mr. Drennan?
It is great and dangerous. We have collision between Chinese and Mexican cartels.
Mr. Bailey, very quickly.
Yes, absolutely. The Missouri State Highway Patrol, a single law enforcement agency in the state of Missouri last year, seized 12,500